Howdy, howdy, and welcome back to the Jolly Green Team. I'm so happy you're here with us today, because today I'm going to be answering the question, can a thru hike really help you find meaning in your life? In this video, we're going to be exploring what it actually is to find meaning in your life, and using the works of Viktor E. Frankl's A Man's Search for Meaning, we can find that there's 3 distinct ways that people can find meaning in their life. And by breaking these down, not only can I help you find meaning in your long walk, but these tips can help anyone find meaning in their life anywhere. As long as you can break it down into these 3 categories, then I'm happy to say you're on the first steps of understanding and finding meaning in your own life. Come join me. Let's go figure out how your long walk is going to provide meaning into your life. I'm excited. So, you're now a repeat viewer, obviously. If not, you should definitely hit that subscribe button. If this is your first time here, I'm Jolly Green. I am your thru hiking extraordinaire, here to teach you how to stay motivated, how to be happy, and produce the best adventure that you can. I was known as Jolly Green thru hiking the Appalachian Trail because I had a very distinctly happy and can-do attitude that carried throughout the entire trail. People were just happy to see me and happy to bring it into their own hike. So if you want to learn how to be happy, just like I was, stick around. Now, in case you haven't heard or have no idea who Viktor E. Frankl is, this is going to be more of a heartbreaking story. You see, Viktor E. Frankl is the clinical founder of logotherapy, which is finding meaning in your own life through whatever deeds that you're going to do and make life worth living. Viktor E. Frankl himself was an Austrian psychiatrist during World War II and was a Holocaust camp survivor. He found that even in the most extraordinarily horrific circumstances, anyone can find meaning in their life. Humans are always free to choose their own attitude in a situation. That is the last freedom. And so by breaking it down into 3 different categories, Viktor Frankl has found a way to help establish what is bringing meaning into your life and how to properly identify it. On to our first category, which is going to be one that all of our creative types like here. Our first aspect of finding meaning in your life is going to be making great works. And what does that mean? Making great works is identified as having a fantastic project to show the world. Whatever it is that you are planning to make as your magnum opus, if that is something that drives you, then you might have a meaning in creating a great work that you can provide to society. Now, making great works is pretty vague, and it is very open to interpretation, because whenever you're finding meaning in your own life, it's going to be as unique as each individual person is. But whenever it comes to making great works, there are all kinds of ways that you can start documenting this. Whether it's starting to journal so that you're ready to write your grand book about your adventures, if it's making filmography, if it's sharing your knowledge with the world, if it's doing a case study, or trying to uncover some big piece of knowledge in the world. But remember, it doesn't have to be just something that you're providing the world. Perhaps your great work is what it is that you're making yourself into. By finding who you are on your thru hike, you're going to be exposing yourself to extreme circumstances that, if your goal is to see the kind of person that you become on the other side, perhaps even just who you are at the end of your thru hike is your great work, something that you won't entirely know how it is until you've seen the finished product. Remember, an investment in yourself is never a wasted investment. Even if projects don't go your way, even if you start running out of money, even if you're tired and you're starting to feel the wearing down on your feet and you're starting to feel that general anguish of not being able to hike another day, just remember that there is no such thing as a bad investment in you, because you are your greatest resource that you have. Maybe it's finding out the ways to make a motivational YouTube channel so that you can reach audiences and give them the tools to be a jolly person. Now, what are some ways that you can make some great works involving just yourself and what it is that you're trying to do. I once met a man hiking with a garden hose on his back. Whenever he was asked about this garden hose, he would look you dead in the eye and say, "It's for extra weight." You see, he got sick of hearing everyone just constantly trying to be more ultralight, trying to shave down grams from their packs, trying so desperately to have as little as possible, that he wanted to make his Appalachian Trail itself the great work that he's going to be refuting all of the normal through hiking expertise. He was bringing it for extra weight so that he specifically could make the hike his own great way. Howdy, howdy. Oh, it's puppies. Make sure you take the chance to go out and play on the frozen lake. It's a lot of fun. One of my favorite experiences with the making of a great work, though, was with my friend Struggle Bus. You see, Struggle Bus, as his name implies, was struggling the whole way along the AT. However, Struggle Bus's great work was wanting to show his old war buddy the Mount Katahdin at the end of a through hike. You see, he spent the entire trail hiking his friend's ashes that he knew so that his friend could finally go on the through hike. He made the hike itself his own search for meaning while he's out there. This next one is really easy to do, and it is experiencing someone or something new, which is, spoiler warning, impossible to not do while you're doing a long distance hike. You're going to be experiencing new things every day, new challenges every day, and you're going to be doing it in the most beautiful backdrops that you could imagine. You've got an entire world of opportunities and some of the most interesting, like-minded people around you to truly show you the way of what it is that you're trying to do and who you can start incorporating into your life. This one was my personal choice of how to find meaning in my through hike and what it was that I was aiming for in my life. You see, I wanted to experience as many new people as possible. So even though it was going to be crowded at the beginning, I went right at peak startup time, right there, March 26th, and was going Nobo. That means I was heading northbound, which is the most common way for people to go. If I was heading northbound right there at peak season, I guaranteed that I was going to meet as many loving and interesting people as possible. And honestly, I attribute it to making a lot of my lifelong friends that I still currently have. And for us here at the Jolly Green team, we can't help but recommend that you go out and you talk to every through hiker you meet. This is such a loving and building community that people just desperately want to see you succeed. You're gonna make some of the most fantastic friends of your life as long as you go out with the express purpose that you're going to experience new things and meet new people. These connections are going to be what it is that makes your through hike special. I noticed part of the way while I was through hiking is I was taking so many scenic landscape pictures of all of the beautiful areas as I was in, but as the trail continued on, I took fewer and fewer of those pictures because whatever mountaintop I was on, it's just going to fall into the backdrop of whatever majesty you're in. If you're gonna take pictures of people that you're with, because that is what makes your through hike special. Something that I did not expect to experience in my through hike though, is exactly what it means to invest in yourself. You see, my entire life growing up, I was a fat, asthmatic, smoking couch potato who my biggest retirement plan was hoping the economy collapsed before I got to that point. I was depressed and I was not doing well in my life. I had always just done hourly work. I was going to school for a program that was not actually about me, but just trying to be around someone that I cared for at the time. And after everything blew up in my face, I realized that I didn't have a whole lot of who I personally was. And so a through hike like this was truly the first time I ever invested in just myself and what that can actually do to you as a person. That was a mindset that really triggered me towards addiction. You see, I struggled with cannabis use, nicotine, drinking, adult media content. I've got a slew of addictions in my history, but by using through hiking in this way to truly invest in myself, it gave me the first keys and practices on what it looks like to invest in yourself in the future whenever you're in the throes of an addiction like that. Remember that an investment in yourself is never an investment wasted. If you're asking yourself the question of, how do I fund this? You have to remember that this is not some vacation. This is not some overly ambitious thing that you're going to be going out and just trying to half-ass it. No. This is going to be a full fundamental investment in yourself, and that is the key takeaway, is that investing in yourself is the biggest investment that you can ever do. By being able to visualize who you are in the future and being able to show that you can do hard things like this, it's going to show you every day in your life afterwards of exactly what it is that you're capable of and help you actually dream bigger than what it is that you're doing currently. Now, this last topic is definitely going to be hard to hear, but the last way to find meaning is through suffering. In simple terms, it means that turning suffering, unavoidable suffering, is to turn suffering into a triumph, whatever it is that you're trying to show the world or yourself. This is going to be for the topic of unavoidable suffering. This is not for those that choose suffering in their day-to-day life. That's masochistic, and that's your own way to have fun in life. Finally, Viktor Frankl talks about how it is that we control our attitude towards unavoidable suffering. Thru hiking is not going to be an easy activity. It's going to be one of the most challenging things that you've done in your life. There's going to be fatigue, dehydration, malnutrition, mosquitoes, as there's going to be so many things that are going to be generally bringing down your mood and constantly grating against your nerves. It's going to be an everyday struggle as you are going to be putting yourself through some of the most exhausting activity of your life while having none of the creature comforts of the world back home. The point is not how it is that we react. And I know some of you crazy people are going to be coming out to do a long distance hike for that sole purpose. You're out here looking for the suffering, but there's going to be days where it's unavoidable. It's not the way that we deal with these challenges. For all of these things along the trail or in life are going to be largely out of our control. The point is the power that we have within the unavoidable circumstances in our lives. As Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, so what happens in the outside world and the way that our body naturally and physically reacts to those things in the world, those are two things that are largely out of our control. But there's a moment between those two things that is where free will resides. That is one of the best and big key takeaways that is going to be required for you to understand what it is that you're trying to do in your thru hike. There is no way for you to control the bad weather, what's going on, your pack breaking, your shoes blowing out from underneath you, you getting a blister, and you just getting one of the worst sunburns of your life. And of course, the mosquitoes. If you haven't told, that was the worst part of my trip, the mosquitoes. Here at the Jolly Green Team, we firmly believe in taking on challenges so that you can push forward into your most ideal self. We see every challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow. And just remember, whenever you're out in the world and you're running around through the woods, having fun on some long distance hike or adventure, never forget the phrase, you get to do this. There was nothing on your trail that you have to do. You get to. And once you have that in your mind, that everything along the trail are things that you get to do, then it's going to open up such a world of possibilities on how it is that you're going to manage yourself and keep yourself incredibly motivated in some of the most trying moments of the Appalachian Trail. One of my favorite ways to do this was remembering whenever I got to a mountaintop, and it was Mount Mahoosic in New Hampshire. This mountaintop was something that was dreamed of, and everyone was so excited to see it. On the day that I was there, cloud cover, couldn't see 10 feet in front of you. And I was with my tramley as people had talked about waiting a day, waiting to see if you could actually get it, or if we had to just hike on. But But I remembered in all of those moments when I'm in the middle of fog, up at the top of a mountain, I remember that I get to be here. And so thinking through that, every time people would be complaining about the fog or not being able to see the mountain range that they would want to, I would always remind them, thousands of people have seen that view, thousands of people have seen that mountaintop. We're the only ones seeing inside this cloud today. Isn't that amazing? Remember, there's always a joy and a lesson to be taken out of everything. My personal story, whenever I was heading out onto the trail, is that I was in a very low point in my life. You see, I had no direction, I had a degree that I didn't care about, and I had just been dumped by my girlfriend at that point. I was sitting around my house, and I was depressed, and I had nothing and no idea what to do with my life. And I did know from my experiences in my past that the only thing that ever solves this is adventure. I was moping around and being sad for a little bit too long. So I decided to go on one of the grandest adventures I had planned for many years at that point, the Appalachian Trail. Now, it might have been long before I read any of Viktor Frankl's work that I went on the Appalachian Trail, but I hadn't realized that suffering was my goal. I was out there, I wanted to feel hard emotions, I wanted to prove that I could go through difficult things. I went out there with the template knowing that I was out there to suffer. I wanted to be miserable, I wanted to be cold, I wanted to be lonely, and I wanted to be in some of the worst physical pain of my life and on the brink of tears. Because those low points are what I was looking for. I was looking to really test myself in the most extreme of circumstances, because I knew that if I could suffer through that, then I could get through anything in my life. Because I knew that if I could accomplish something like that, then I was deserving of self-confidence, I was deserving of love, and I was deserving of respecting myself again, in a time that I could not find that on my own. And so as long as you know that suffering is the goal, and what it is that you can use to build out of suffering itself, then you can find your own meaning in this world. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, he who has a why can bear almost any how. So the point is that if you go out there knowing and understanding what your purpose and your meaning is going to be while you're through hiking, you too can bear any situation, and you won't even consider getting off of the trail because it already aligns with what it is that you're trying to do. So between making great works, experiencing new and exciting people and places, and understanding suffering, you too can not only find meaning in your life, in your through hike, or your every day-to-day, but this could also go and establish to anyone who's not a through hiker. I'm using this as my own personal experience, but these are universal statements that can help anyone find their meaning. If this was helpful to you in helping you find your meaning in either your through hike or your life, tell us down in the comments of what your meaning in life is. Here at the Jolly Green Team, I'm excited to hear from you, but let's keep it jolly. So hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified the next time I let out a new and exciting video. Come join us, and I can't wait to see you. Welcome to the Jolly Green Team.